Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente, Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, these tens are evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have Silent Spring, because this should be getting posted on the first week of spring. See what I did there?
Hilarious.
So, Silent Spring is by HopelessNightOwl on creepypasta.wiki. And it's well, we'll run in. We'll just dive right into the rundown. Mm-hmm. So the public version, we get this public survey addendum thing. In 1996, there was a wildlife survey performed at the Faulkner Wildlife Refuge in Missouri, following unusual behavior within the bird population of the refuge. The birds, between 1992 and 1996, had a noticeable decrease in bird songs and noise. The exception being corvid species, who were agitated and increasing their noise behavior. The survey was set to run from February 1996 to November of the same year, though it was concluded by August. It was concluded, albeit rather inconclusively, that the cause was likely illegal poaching and/or construction and development disrupting the local wildlife. We then cut to the addendum version, which is basically the same material, but with several specific details that had been omitted from the previous public version. Mm-hmm. The cause was actually discovered, though no video evidence was able to be obtained, to be a massive unknown species of bird, which was causing such an authoritative presence in the region that all birds fell psychologically silent, or they were inherently silenced by this creature's presence. And with the exception of owls and corvids, who were increasing their auditory defenses as a display of showing their territory. Although even they, at a certain point, withdrew or were stifled by the unknown bird species. When attempts were made to acquire video footage of this creature, luring it to an artificial nest or bringing it out through audio samples of its calls, the cameras would often get interference, specifically because the bird's activity seemed to also to be heightened during massive thunderstorms that were happening during the summer. Deer carcasses were also discovered on the ground, but also high in the trees. Pertaining to this, the
way that I imagine the way it was said is they're strung up Predator style.
Yeah, or just pierced because there's actually a certain bird in Australia that actually pierces animals mice and mice and other mammal things it catches, mm-hmm. and skewers them onto a prickly bush, and then picks away at it from there.
Yeah,
it's like Vlad the Impaler bird.
Nice.
But yeah, basically, stringing them up or grabbing, as if they'd been grabbed from the ground by a large bird and then pinned into a tree or something like that for it to be eaten later. Mm-hmm. So there's that evidence of this creature, and then eventually the survey was dropped in the summer, though not before several cryptid hunters were apprehended who claimed to be searching for a bird of immense size, perhaps the size of a small aircraft. Then we get the short memo from, which is a letter to a Deputy Secretary of Defense from a Major General in charge of the United States Air Force Advanced Bioweapons Systems Research Group, based out of Nellis Air Force Base.
So many bases.
Yeah, in Nevada, which, for those not in the know of UFO conspiracies, is supposed to be Area 51. Nellis Air Force Base. So basically explains, and basically this little memo letter explains that the survey has been terminated, the researchers sworn to silence, and through some means or method, the avian silence in the area has been rectified. And this is all under the subject line, Project Thunderbird. So, and that is the end of the document, or the epistolary story, which is what this is kind of formatted like. It's like an SCP entry, but or like an SCP style kind of story, but also kind of like like I said, an epistolary story. So like a story that's made from using documents.
Mm-hmm.
So on to everyone tolerates the grammar acquisitions at this point. Mikey, the says for evil. Do you have any grammar acquisitions?
Well, I have an it story that's only 4 its long, but
Like how that's a measure of the length.
Yeah.
I found out by creating this it story that there's a really long run-on sentence.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
Well,
And now, an it story with Mikey. The E stands for evil. Take it away.
it was determined that the cause of silence among birds of different species at Faulkner Wildlife Refuge was a constant fear of predation. It was speculated that aircraft may be violating the no-fly zone above the refuge and frightening birds, but this was found not to be the case. It should be noted that great horned owls are notoriously aggressive and territorial and known for killing and eating other large birds of prey, and few bird species are able to take them without the advantage of numbers. It was found that the calls triggered an intense fight-or-flight response from each bird's amygdaloid complex, resulting in not simply the loss of desire to vocalize, but a virtual neurological impairment preventing birds from being able to vocalize, with parts of the avian brain related to vocalization possibly shutting down for hours at a time. The longer the exposure to the recordings, the longer this effect.
what was the simple one I gave for that? What was the layman's version I gave for that? Its presence caused psychological silence. There we go.
Yep.
Within words. Yeah. That was holy shit. That was a long on sentence.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
What are you guys looking at me for?
Grammar in yellow?
No.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
No.
All right. On to actual thoughts. The refuge consists of temperate woodland and savanna and is bordered by a state park and a state conservation area. You know, I never actually thought, or I never really think of savanna and not think of African savanna.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that it would be be found geographically elsewhere. Like it's basically just like sparse scrubland, like the prairie, like the American prairies, so like the North American prairies, like that go across like from Canada to the U.S. are basically the savanna.
Yeah.
I never really like clued into that until like reading this. It's like, I guess savannas are actually like a terrain that's not just like found in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next one. One notable exception to this was an apparent increase in vocalization from corvids, including crows, ravens, and blue jays. Huh. I didn't realize blue jays were that closely related to crows and ravens. That's just a cool little tidbit I learned in this story.
Makes sense for how mouthy they are.
Yeah, and also like now that I look at like the shape of like a blue jay, they do have the same kind of like beak structure and what have you of a crow or like a raven. So it does make sense. They're basically just blue ravens or blue, like they're just blue spike-haired crows. If you look at them,
I'll have to look at them again.
yeah.
I'll assume you're right.
But yeah, this entry is proving to be surprisingly informative to me. My next one here, and this is regarding the official statement and the addendum version. I like how we get the official statement, which gives us all the information they collected and shows everything is relatively normal. And then we get a declassified version of the story that entails that there is actually more going on, and it adds like an air of conspiracy and mystery to the whole thing. Like, oh no, everything is fine, everything's fine. Sir, this is the declassified version, top secret. Don't tell. Your eyes only. This is what actually happened. Like I like that like duplicity, or that duality that's there. My one issue I had with it is while it makes sense to copy and paste the report again and add something specific or something specifically omitted from the public version. It did read a little repetitively to me. Like, as I was reading, I was like, okay, this is the same fucking shit I just read. Oh, no, there's some few different things. But, like, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to, like, say this in a negative. I was just, like, as I was reading it, I was getting a little repetition kicking in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a note on that as well. Where I'm essentially saying the same thing where it repeats itself. So, as a reader, it's kind of a little annoying to have to reread the same thing, but in the lore of it, it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like it makes it like it's basically a layered cake. Because like we get the top part, which is the public version, and then you get the next layer of the cake is the conspiratorial version, and then the next layer of the cake is the super top secret memo. But at that point, you're fucking bloated because you've eaten an entire cake.
Yeah,
but like. It was a really good cake, and all the like basically the sum of its parts, like the all three collections of like the same version of the different versions, like made a compelling like mystery.
Although I do wonder, like I don't know how these sheets get actually processed and stuff. The classified one, would it come paperclipped with the declassified one as backup information on it?
I think the story is being told like you gotta have to like this isn't actually like being given to somebody. This is basically like how the story is laid out. Like we are an outsider reader reading the public version. Then we get to read the classified version that was handed out to a government official.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying that classified version, would it have a copy of the non-classified survey as context?
Probably not, because it's basically the same thing. Like it's like basically
what I'm getting at is
I understand what you're getting at.
Like the first three sections of the classified one is the previous one,
except they did add a few things in that.
The first three sections of it are exactly the same thing, pretty much. And then after that, of course, I can't load it up now because I didn't copy it over and hyperlink it properly. But the first three sections are basically saying exactly what was in the declassified or in the public knowledge one.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's talking about bears and stuff, and that's when it gets into all the declassified stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think so, but I'm not a government official.
You're not?
No.
Damn it.
So, like, I don't...
Yeah,
I think, again, like, the top version is whatever was given to the public, and then... The version.
Oh, I know how it works.
Can you let me finish? Fuck off! Like Jesus,
you keep repeating yourself. I know how it works.
Okay, well, I'm trying to elaborate, like continue with it. Just let me finish. All right, there, Jay-Z or whatever his name was.
I don't remember
Kanye.
Yeah.
Jesus,
how dare you?
But like, yeah, like I think the middle section is just like would have just been given to the government guy, plus the memo would have probably been given to the guy as well. Or maybe even like the memo. Honestly, the memo probably would have been given first, and then like this would like the survey would have been the attachment on the email.
Which is the memo?
Like the memo is the bottom one. Yeah, the last one. But for a narrative story, like it's a layered like narrative. That's all I was trying to say. Which apparently I was repeating myself over and over again. So
a couple of times, but with like as a reader, you could just skip the entire public knowledge one and just read the declassified ones, and you get the exact same story.
I disagree. I feel like by reading the first part, you us as a reader, we get the context. Like first off, we get this one, and then we get this one that is adding things that were clearly omitted from the first one.
I know, but all the information from the first one is in the second one.
Yeah.
As a reader, you could read the second one and understand the full story. The only thing you wouldn't know. You stop rubbing your eyes.
No, I'm rubbing my eyes because I actually have something in my eye.
Oh, okay. I thought like, God damn this fucking guy. That too. But what I'm saying is, you could read the second one and get all the same information. The only thing you wouldn't know is what was released to the public specifically.
That's true.
So there is I'm not saying the first section shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
It should be there because then you know in the lore of the story what the public knows.
And then and also as a reader, like we read this part and then they're like, all right, now here's chapter 2. Everything you just read, there's some things that were omitted, and here's what it was. So you get the context. It's like you were saying earlier. You get the context. Like we as a reader get the context of what the public knows, and then what the government knows about this whole situation.
Well, we get the context of the public, then context of the public with the government.
Yeah, because the government's getting the same thing as the public. They're at it. They're keeping the stuff that was removed.
Yeah. The first one is the official release of a movie.
Yeah.
And the second one is the director's cut.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how it is.
Or honestly, like a trailer and then the actual movie.
Kind of.
To a degree. Yeah.
Really long trailer though.
Yeah. Well. All right. So is that it for? Is that all you have for this section for the addendum and the official statement thing? All right. So moving on to my next segment. The researchers did not... What? The researchers? The researchers did not see the bird, but reported that it seemed to land in the boughs of a nearby red oak. The tree was over 80 feet tall, and the researchers reported that many branches were moving at once near its canopy, indicating a bird of large size. Additionally, several large branches fell from the canopy at the same time. And at this point in the story, I was like, oh man, is this a fucking Thunderbird story? Like, initially, when the Predator premise came to light, and not the Predator as in, like, the guy that skins people and, like, takes their skulls and...
Not AVP Predator.
Not the alien Predator. I mean, like, when the Predator, like, oh, there's a Predator... in the area, and that's why the animals are like being silent and stuff like that.
Yes.
When that came to light, I was sort of expecting it to be actually the Momo, and the Momo being the Missouri version of the Bigfoot, not the internet meme horror thing that showed up a couple years back. Because there's a kind of a convoluted thing because like there's the Momo, which is actually a legend of the Bigfoot in Missouri, but then there's also now the Momo, which is the terrifying, like, uncanny valley, like, bird woman, with the, like, super, like wide eyes and, like, creepy smile and stuff. But yeah, initially I thought it was going to be they were on the Bigfoot route here. But then we get this part here, specifically to continue with that. During the summer, calls seemed to increase during thunderstorms. During especially violent night storms, the calls were so frequent that it would have been difficult for any hearing-capable person on the premises at the time to fail to notice them. It is a Thunderbird story! I was like, yeah, like initially I was like, oh, because this is going to be Bigfoot. And then there was a bird of large size in the Midwest.
How'd you immediately go to Thunderbird before anything about lightning was said?
Honestly, that's just like because
you know more shit than I do.
I know more shit about Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Hence why I squeed when thunderstorms all but confirmed the Thunderbird story.
The only Thunderbird I need to know about is the car.
Moving right along. One day in July, the fresh carcass of an adult female deer was found hanging in the canopy of a white oak tree that was over 100 feet tall. Nope, sorry. This really should have had a definite date, not one day in July. This was going really strong, like as the format for the format and so the report like format until one day in July. Like, no, I'm pretty sure a report would have said what day this deer was found, like the actual date, because like
probably date and time.
Yeah, it would not have just been one like that. That's like something. The story kind of pulled me out a little bit as like it kind of just went generic story.
Yeah, it'd be like 4th of July. 12:05 Larry Henderson spotted this.
Yeah.
Like
also
or Larry redacted.
Yeah. Also connected to my whole like Thunderbird thing. Later on in this paragraph, they try to explain it rationally while still giving the canopy corpse an air of like mysterious significance. I appreciate that because this paragraph gives further proof of the strangeness and the creature's habits, keeping that this is supposed to be a bird's doing, like a bird of unusual size, basically. So while also being grounded in the real world with skepticism and logic, like they're trying to like put logic to this whole thing, they're also like putting this. They're also like adding like this like. Kind of, I don't know, I almost got like like when they reference like the deer corpse up in the tree, it was like, oh shit, this thing eats things the size of deer. Yeah. Like it adds like a little bit more of a threat level to it. So
Like it could pick up a person.
Yeah, exactly. Like the next thing is going to be one of the poachers gets picked off or something, or like one of the researchers got picked off, and like that's why they actually terminated it or something like that. So, and then my last main actual thought thing is about the memo portion. RE Project Thunderbird. Per joint agreement of the Department of Defense and the Department of the Interior, this wildlife survey has been terminated. Sorry. All researchers have been sworn to secrecy regarding portions of the survey. Following DoD intervention, the phenomenon of avian silence has been rectified. Major General Matthew Harris, Commander, United States Air Force Advanced Bioweapons Systems Research Group, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. Oh. So, when I read that whole memo thing, I was just like, bioweapons? Like, that's kind of an interesting take, because, like, is this, in this story context, like, it kind of gives, like, is the Thunderbird a naturally occurring creature, or is it an artificial creation of the government? So, like, again, it has little hints and it's these little hints and clues in the writing, of these kinds of stories and pieces that are why I really enjoy, like, reading these ones on occasion, like, these epistolary stories that, like, kind of, what's the word? Like, not hand feed you, not force feed you. It's like, drip feed you information as you go, and you get to construct, like, your own, like, little, like, headcanon about the whole thing.
It's bad that as soon as you say construct, I auto-completed 2 additional pylons.
God damn it.
Makes you construct additional pylons and other things.
But like, that's one of the reasons why I like these kind of stories, is because they give you enough information that you can just have, like, a headcanon, or, like, you can connect my brain personally just likes to connect dots and make my own, like, fabricate shotguns and, or in this case, fabricate, like, genetic experiments gone rogue kind of thing. Like, I don't know, it gets my brain fired up, like, for ideas and stuff like that.
Yep.
When I read these kind of stories. So, I just really enjoyed the ending there, like that ending tidbit of information about the bioweapons research. And that is my actual thoughts until I go into the kitchen. So, Mikey, these stands for you.
All right, so there's a lot of bird information.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, sort of helps lend to the credence of the story, because you're just given fact after fact of bird fact.
Yeah.
So, which, when I was initially reading it, I was thinking predator as wasn't a bird until later on.
Until we get like, again, like, you don't really notice, like think it's a bird. You think it's, like, maybe, like, a large animal, or, like, again, the Bigfoot or the Momo. Mm-hmm. And then they drop that part where, like, a large bird that was bending bows and cracking large branches. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And then the interesting thing was that it had a similar, what was it, call it to the owl.
Yeah.
So, which it makes me wonder if the owl is one of its favorite types of
food. Oh, maybe.
Well, weren't they talking to each other essentially?
Well, they were basically, like, talking about, like, effectively they were harassing each other about territory. Because
I almost wonder if
it's a type of owl.
Yeah,
maybe the Thunderbird is actually just a dire owl, like from D&D, where it's a large-sized owl. Mm-hmm. So basically, a car-sized owl. Very possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
So either it was like either the owls are its form of prey, so it mimics the owl, or it's a like either a progenitor species of owl or or another species of owl, and it actually makes sense because owls are one of the larger birds outside of, like, condors and eagles.
Mm-hmm. Or it's a human-made hybrid of owl and whatever DNA.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, I like that they don't really... There's no actual supernatural element, but the thunderstorm thing really, like, is a nice hint to, like, something more preternatural. Mm-hmm. Like, something either just slightly beyond nature, or, like, showing, like, almost like an extraordinary thing about it. Like, for some reason it reacts very like positively or like maybe negatively, we're not sure, like toward thunderstorms.
It might
And, like,
create these thunderstorms.
or it's creating the thunderstorms. Or like, because sometimes like Thunderbird like legends and like stories, the Thunderbirds are like basically they follow thunderstorms. They don't actually create them.
Mm-hmm.
But so like they're basically birds that hide in thunderstorms, or like that's how they like basically when they're hunting. It's usually they wait till a thunderstorm strikes and then they go and hunt because they can. It causes a lot of confusion. There's not a lot, and like reports can be faulty and stuff like that. And so that's why they go out. It's like a very like secretive way of hunting.
Or that's when they do their mating.
I was also thinking that too,
And it's really loud.
that's why it was a cacophony. Yeah. God. Or, it's like Twilight where they go and play baseball out in the field when there's a thunderstorm because the cracks of the baseball against the bat is so powerful that they create sonic booms. Fucking Twilight. Why do I know that?
Why do you know that? What the hell?
Because I have sisters and a mom that loves Twilight, okay?
Yeah, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You didn't need those.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have much to say that hasn't already been talked about.
Okay. Gamer, I guess you're up next.
I suppose so. So in regards to the title, well, it does have to do with silence, but there's nothing specifically during the springtime at all.
Yeah,
I kind of expected.
I looked it up because I was tempted. Like, well, maybe like Silent Spring is like the summer of ska kind of thing, like where like it's not actually a summer; it's like a year of something. Because that's actually what that's what I thought summer of ska was. It was in reference to a year, like basically like a year-long summer kind of thing. But I couldn't actually find any reason for it. Although Mikey looks very like agitated.
Yeah, because people keep talking and he's not giving a choice to.
Well, because he's so quiet.
He's really quiet because that's just the way he is. He likes to just listen to other people what they have to say and then say his moment when that moment arises.
Mikey, would you like to go?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to keep it going.
No, not that mean.
So I've actually figured it out.
Okay.
The monster is a robot.
Please elaborate.
It has a silent spring.
What?
The springs in it are silent. Don't know. That's why they don't know it's a robot, because it's silent. It's not being like... It's just like a normal bird. Think about it.
I am. That's stupid. But...
Hey, also, one thing I was going to bring up, they never found a single feather during this investigation.
That is really true, yeah. They didn't find a single feather on this thing.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a transformer. Maybe it's just it's like...
it's surprisingly plausible.
What's that bird? What's that bird Pokemon? What's that bird transformer? Like that like Soundwave has? Google it.
I can't either.
Hang on, Transformer bird.
You broke it when you're...
Loading 1986 archives.
God, there's Angry Birds Transformers. Why?
Why not?
Bird Transformers. The bird is a mystical object that has great life restorative properties. What? That's on the Transformer wiki.
Or just type, dude, Transformers Soundwave.
Oh, I should actually.
And then it'll talk about he has this cassette tape that turns into things, and the bird. The bird isn't the cassette tape, right?
I think it might be Soundboard. Hang on. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? There's nothing.
There has to be.
Okay. Bird that is a Transformer.
Oh my god. I'm gonna Google it too.
All I'm getting is Angry Birds and Transformers. Why?
Because they did a crossover, apparently.
Okay, well, the one from Beast Wars I remember is Air Razor. The female, Falcon Girl. Or the female Falcon Girl. The female Falcon Transformer.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, like... I remember there was a transformer that was a cassette for Soundwave that became a bird. It was in the 1980s motion picture. Again, this is super serial, you guys. Tell me.
It's voiced by Frank Welker. That's Kermit.
Kermit the Frog here. Cannot believe I'm searching this hard for this fucking bird. Jeez, there's a lot of Autobots. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to go down to the
Laserbeak.
Fuck.
Fuck. You got real French there.
Yes, Laserbeak. So Air Razor or Laserbeak, yeah. Wow.
I did it.
Yeah. Alright, what were we talking about before that? Oh, right, yeah, your stupid idea about it, the Thunderbird was a bird, or was a robot.
Yep.
God.
The truth that it's a robot.
Stupid truth. I say as I was super gushing over bioweapon stuff, so.
We'll be in the middle. It's a cyborg.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Done. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clearly. That's why it's able to it recharges in thunderstorms.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
totally.
All right, in the weird post-apocalypse, or in the weird in the 2050s or 2060s, sure. That's where it showed up. Because we never actually get a full date on the one. Oh, we did get a date. It was 1997.
Yeah, we do.
In the 2090s. Anyway, enough of our stupidity. Do you have anything else?
Oh, right. It was my notes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're talking about how it...
Yeah, you said
this was
it's
just about the
great.
title.
Yeah, the title and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, because I thought, because we talked about it.
But yeah, the only other thing I can think of is it could refer to this quote here. The refuge has no major rivers, but it does have several creeks, springs, and lakes, as well as 2 limestone caves.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought it was going to be called. What I thought the actual place was going to be called, not Faulkner.
Yeah.
Did anybody else look it up? Because I did not. I did not look that up. Shit.
No.
I figured someone would have.
I thought I would have, but I totally gapped on that. Damn it. Because I'm going to be going down to really close to Missouri soon, or in the summer.
You should go see the cyborg bird.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go check out the Mammoth Caves in Kentucky and probably get eaten by hillbillies. Hi,
Awesome.
Adam.
Was he going to eat you directly?
Well, he did want to. He was suggesting me going to an underground gorge to kayak, and then also a mushroom caves where some mines were made that were then gutted because they ran out of minerals and stuff. And during the 70s, mushroom farmers used it as a mushroom farm, the cave systems. And now it's being used, or is possibly being used after years of decline and urban exploration stuff. It's now being considered to be used for server farming. Basically, they're going to put servers down there because it's cool temperature.
No. Just the way that you strung that together, it sounds like he's going to drug you with the mushrooms and then take you to the underground cavern, throw you in the kayak, and take you to his hidden base where he'll eat you.
We have been talking a lot about creepy Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, again, hi, Adam.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
The layout itself, I like the official looking document of it all. They got the little images put in.
Yeah.
That adds a lot of nice flair to it.
Did we actually get a number? I noticed that some of those, all those images had a number to them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Was that it almost a notation that would go along with something that was actually in the
at the bottom it's saying where they reference these pictures from. That's all that is.
Yeah. So it's just that credit. And actually, that's actually another really cool thing. They actually credit where they got the content for the story. They actually are credit the fucking stuff that they use.
Yep. Mm-hmm. As you should.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on at length about the thing that you yelled at me about at the start.
But
feelings are hurt. About the first section and the second section.
Oh, yeah, you're wrong.
It. And
I hate you.
Yeah. And then when I got to the end, first of all, I read this morning. Okay. So,
full disclosure.
Yeah, I give you a little bit of a break. I didn't read the names on the people at all, so I just read the words in the last one, and I was confused as to the ending. I'm like, what did they do to rectify the situation? And what is this situation? But after knowing that, okay, it's from biohazard stuff, what is it?
It's
Bioweapon? Yeah, bioweapens.
United States Air Force Advanced Bioweapons Systems Research Group, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada.
Yeah, I really should have read that. Because then it makes it seem like, yeah, well, it's a super weapon that they made.
It's okay.
It got loose.
To be fair, up until basically halfway through this recording, I was trying to figure out what the hell DOD referenced.
Really?
And
it's on the badge.
It's literally 3 fucking lines up from on my notes what it is.
Yeah.
But I googled it while we were like doing our discussion. I was like DOD, and it was like Department of Defense. That makes okay. I'm stupid.
There's a badge that said it.
I
read the badges before reading anything
skimmed
else.
that.
Oh,
I read the story.
We both skimmed different information that was helpful.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. We're both stupid.
Yeah.
So, is that it for your actual thoughts?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just take you guys into the kitchen for a second. Because I again, much like the SCP entries and other creepypastas, this one gave me a bunch of gave me a spark of oh my god, I could run this in a game. So kind of leaning into my RPG hobby stuff. For game wise, Delta Green 100%. Especially with the recent additions they've added, in some of the new content they've been putting out, with occupations that are set for national parks and basically environmental agencies and stuff like that within the United States infrastructure. You could play as the survey crew trying to figure out what the hell's out there in the woods. Mm-hmm. You could also be agents working for the project, the Advanced Bioweapon Systems Research Group, or Berserk, as I like to call it, or Abserker.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Absurd. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you could if you wanted to take it a little bit more in a different route, you could run this in Monster of the Week, or even Fear itself, and you're the cryptid hunters who are trying to avoid the government agents and their survey crews and so that while breaking into this refuge and trying to find this creature. You've heard stories of deer popping up on telephone poles or trees and stuff like that in the region, and so it's that's them there Thunderbird. We got to go catch it.
Catch it.
Yeah. Catch a ride.
Yeah, totally. Or you can play it in Bunnies and Burrows and just be a bunny in
area. I left it out of my notes, but I was that one was one of my options was or you guys could play as the birds themselves, you're escaped experiments from the government, and you're trying to find a new home. So, you're actually playing the Thunderbirds.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to avoid humanity.
Or just the quote-unquote civilian birds
yeah.
dealing with this Thunderbird fucking
it honestly wouldn't be that hard with the Warrens. In its custom movies, we could totally just, reskin that to be birds, or literally just, the animals in the area, that are seeing this giant fucking, monster. Mm-hmm. But yeah, outside of that, it's really kind of the gameable stuff that I'm again, much like other SCP entries and epistolary stories like this, or the Die and I House, I see a lot of fodder for this for to be used in game scenarios. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my kitchen dive into it. Mm-hmm. Mikey, do you have anything for that, or
just a simple thing for the cryptid investigation stuff? You could add some misdirection and just have them run into a cougar or other of course, they're out there looking for this big bird or something, and then you just keep throwing a bunch of red herrings that are actually going to be threats, a cougar or a brown bear or a black bear. I'm not sure what or they said cougars are rare in the state, but they do happen. Mm-hmm. Or wild boar. Mm-hmm. Maybe 30 of them.
Running really fast.
Yeah. With Sabotage playing in the background.
Yeah, for some reason.
No one's getting that reference.
No.
So, also, another idea I just came up with, we could just wholesale run this in Shadowrun. And just you're hunting a Thunderbird or you're tracking a Thunderbird for one of the corporations.
Yeah.
Or this is run it in Shadowrun, but don't use much of the setting of Shadowrun and just have it this in the same vein of the Delta Green thing. You're not sure what you're hunting, and then just have it be a Thunderbird. that has like cybernetics to it. So it's actually like an augmented version, or it's like a technologically like created version of a Thunderbird.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Gamer, did you have anything else?
I wasn't prepared for kitchen duty.
I did say in the email.
Did you?
Yeah.
I opened the email this morning. I'm like, link. There we go. Move on.
Wow. All right. Well, fair enough. Honestly, I thought there was going to be a lot more for kitchen stuff, and I found myself like reading this. I was like, no, the story's pretty succinct as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like story wise, like pulling ideas from stories. Like, honestly, this is a pretty solid story as it is, but it's great for like game fodder.
The only kitchen thing I can kind of think up is in a little bit more information about the ending. Like, go on, like, it could be a document chronicling what happened for them to, like, not need to worry about it anymore. Like, they sent in this team of operatives to go in and hunt him down, and X, Y, and Z happened.
Either they caught the bird, or the bird moved on to a new location, and so they just, like... They transplanted new birds and that they wiped out the other ones or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's good to like keep it vague, because it's like you don't have to go too much detail. If you add too many details that you're not aware, that you're not like, that don't sound realistic enough, it kind of just like falls flat.
Yeah, that's what happened with some of these document-like things we've read before, where it doesn't feel like a document because it's like not specific enough and stuff like that. So I guess I will give it credit because it stopped good where it is. Yeah. Where there's only like one or two things that we're calling bullshit on. Yeah. But if it kept going, it might have ruined itself. Yeah. Like
what was the SCP, the Shy Guy one, where it was just falling flat because of the cam footage we were getting from the sniper. The top-notch sniper who's trying to like
best
peg
sniper in the universe.
Who's trying to like peg a high, basically trying to peg Sonic the Hedgehog from a moving helicopter.
Yeah, I guess God.
Like from parallel to the Sonic entity.
Yeah, the hardest shot. Well, they weren't. Okay, we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, we already talked. Had the argument there. Yeah.
So. Another scenario that you could potentially run is just some teenagers going camping in the woods.
I was thinking that too. Like Little Fears would be perfect for that. Little Fears being the RPG about playing children to like young teens going camp, like and having like throwing monsters at them. Basically, like it's every Saturday, like those every childhood horror movie ever, like The Goonies or. Monster Squad, like those kind of things.
I thought it was like Friday the 13th.
Oh, Friday the 13th, you could also do that too. Although I probably wouldn't do it in Little Fears. I'd probably do it in Fear Itself, honestly. That's like Fear Itself works for that too, because you can play as dumb teens, or even like again, you can. It has a nice range of character of skills that allow you to play like a character of any kind of age. Yeah. You could also probably run this in Slasher Flick if you wanted to just have like a bowl full of expendable victims and just have them get pegged off by this thing. Bump up the diet of this creature to be human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much there already.
And then just treat it as like some kind of like bioweapon that's been gone rogue, or just a naturally occurring predator. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's a lot of room to like grow for like a game idea for this, like, and there's a lot of systems you could run this in, basically. Is that it though?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
All right, so we're gonna move on to final thoughts. So, like I've said, sort of like an SCP entry, a little bit more epistolary in its storytelling, because it's like more much like the SCP, like it's not as rigid as the SCP entries and their storytelling, but it's a nice collection of like notes that are just like layered upon layer of the same story. A bit repetitive when you read it, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because each layer gives something new to the table. I really enjoyed the reveal and even the little hints at the end, which may allude to some kind of government project. Thunderbirds, like many monsters in folklore, need more spooky stories. So for that reason, and the reasons I said above, I recommend. because we need more monsters, like more love to and spotlight to certain monsters. Like I feel like North America, like when you think of North American like creepypastas and stuff like that, you get the Wendigo or the Skinwalker,
Dudes, basically.
the Wendigo,
Right?
or the Wendigo, or the Skinwalker, or the Wendigo. Wendigo. Oh. And then Cultist Bot 3000. Just, yeah. Or, like, I think sometimes you'll get a Loot Guru if you go to Canada, because everyone thinks of French Canada when they think of Canada.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, it's nice to see another North American monster get treatment, like get a nice story. Like Thunderbirds are fucking cool because they're like large birds, like birds of prey, are terrifying at the normal size sometimes.
Oh yeah,
Like
totally.
again, condors are about the size are massive monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, that's my reasoning for my recommendation. I think Thunderbirds need more love, and this story told a nice Thunderbird story.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't tell you it was a Thunderbird story until halfway through, and then it was awesome when they revealed it. And they don't directly reveal it until the very end.
When it says Project Thunderbird.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a nice succinct touch to that. So, Mikey, these things for evil. Your recommendations?
I'm going to go with a partial recommendation.
You son of a bitch.
How dare you?
Yeah, okay, no,
What is
seriously.
wrong with you?
Part of me...
You're wrong! Sorry, I did not mean to...
So you yell at him, you immediately apologize. You yell at me, it's fine.
Because we're like brothers. You know I'm joking. Right? Right?
Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter, does it?
Sorry, continue, Mikey.
Part of me wanted more information in the...
Part 3?
Yeah, well, just the general non-disclosed to the public information.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Like
More information than the first one?
Well,
what?
just from that point on, because we're getting declassified or classified information.
Yeah.
So, and as evidenced by the one day in July or whatever.
Yeah, no, I feel like dates could have helped a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On certain, like, on certain, like, areas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, I mean, one day in July was like the biggest offender of it. But I mean, like even some of the other things, if you think about it, some of the other ones don't really have a timestamp on them. Like and like
There's
I feel
no
like
timestamps.
there's no timestamps. That's what I mean. But like they're done up formally enough that they don't recognize that like they probably should have them, but you're okay with it.
Yeah.
They don't. But yeah, like the one day in July is the one that really like just pulls you right out of the report format, and it's like really like
Where's Larry Henderson?
yeah.
We need more Larry Hendersons here. It's like that's a random name I gave that guy who found that deer.
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna write that down so I remember that as a term.
Larry Henderson.
For just like a random guy that needs a name.
And I'm just going to be perpetually confused moving forward. It's
Yep.
like, who are you referencing? There's no Larry Henderson in the story.
It's gonna happen.
God.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fair.
And,
Accept your partial recommendation.
but potentially more information on the cryptid hunters. Or...
Yeah. I did like how the first part, like, it's like they were poachers or like they were like just people who were in the area that were not supposed to be there. And then in the next one, they're like, they were cryptid hunters. Like they were trying to find the Thunderbird. Like straight up just trying to find a giant bird.
Or they're barn finders and they're just trying to find an old car to work on.
I want to throw something at you so bad right now.
Is there anything throwable?
Did you die last episode? How are you still alive?
It's just my first life. I have multiple lives.
God damn it.
Yeah.
How many lives do you have?
You're not supposed to know that. That's for me to know and you to find out.
Fair enough. Yeah. Oh, right, yeah. Hang on.
What?
All right. Gamer in Yellow.
Where am I? Who are you?
Your recommendation, please.
For what?
For Silent Spring.
Oh, I don't remember. fried my brain.
Damn it. He was dead too long.
Yeah, too long. What are we talking about again?
Seriously, what's your recommendation
okay.
for Silent Spring? The skit is over.
Damn it. You have to commit. Or get committed, one of the two. That's how it works.
Yep.
I'll give it like a 3/4 recommendation. Technically a partial, because it's not full. Only because I was left confused at the end because of my own fault. Mind you, because I didn't read the names. Because at this point, names didn't matter.
Yeah.
So I figured this last name also didn't matter. Meanwhile, it mattered. But a little bit more clarification at the end as to what happened. Like, I'm a tactical dude. You know, like I would be down for having a short debrief, essentially, of what happened.
See, I feel like in that case, like that might be the game fodder. Like,
yes,
that's basically like the scenario we run is like the aftermath of this report,
for sure. But again, I can't hate on it too much because if it did go too far, the next one may have been like not specific enough to feel like a report anymore.
Yeah, because
they nailed it pretty good for 3 reports that they all felt pretty official. So I can't really hate on it too much. The creature, it was revealed well. It wasn't just thrown in your face immediately. They gave a couple of rational explanations of what it could be.
Yeah,
like a bald eagle or some condor
a black
or whatever,
bear or a cougar.
Yeah, like all these different.
And then the actual bird. And I like how they never straight up say Thunderbird in the story until the very end. Like their rationales is like that it's some kind of they're not sure what kind of bird species it is because it doesn't match anything that on the known records. It's basically they're treating it as if it's a brand new species or organism.
The one thing I have to call bullshit on is they never saw it.
That I found that kind of surprising. Like
4 years.
No. It was only 1 year that the survey went on.
Oh, I
4
know,
years.
but there was people...
Oh, yeah, no one ever saw... Yeah, no, I get you, yeah. Well, again, like, it could be that, like, the bird, like, it only hunts during thunderstorms, during night storms, because that's when it is the most concealed.
But there would have to be a lot... Well, I guess...
Maybe it's not even maybe it's maybe one of those caves that it mentions that it had. Area. That's where it lives. Mm-hmm. It's because again, like hiding itself away from humanity. Like I imagine that if it is a bioweapon, it's supposed to be covert, and if it's a naturally occurring creature, well, and if we haven't seen it yet, like it's like the Bigfoot situation where like it doesn't want to be seen by us, so it's trying to keep itself. It knows enough of humanity to not be seen, and like that's why we only get like scant reports of it through history.
Or it's a naturally occurring ninja.
Yeah, exactly. It's a ninja bird.
Mm-hmm. Or it's a robot with cloaking technology. Or
really, just hammering on this robot theory.
Or going your route, it's a biologically engineered chameleon bird.
Whoa! Like the feathers themselves, like shift slightly to like refract light. Mm-hmm. That's surprisingly plausible. I can't believe I just said that.
Yep. Surprisingly so. Mm-hmm. It could be anything.
Mm-hmm. So, partial recommendation.
It's still a partial recommendation, but it's a pretty high partial.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty down with it. There's only a few little things to nitpick at.
Yeah. And that's really what it is, nitpicks.
Yeah. So, overall, I guess I would recommend it to people to read, because as long as you're down with reading something that's
as long as you
seems official and it's not cinematic, it's just more documentation.
Yeah, epistolary story. Yeah. So like, I mean, again, Dracula is an epistolary story. Dracula is is a collection of letters and correspondences between several characters. So like like those stories like can be cinematic. They can also be like done in a different way than cinematic. So yeah, like this one is very. I like the allure of the mystery of this one. Like as you peel away different like versions of the story.
Yeah, and I'll say this: compared to some SCPs, this does it better than some of them.
Yeah,
like with how official it seems. Maybe it's because it just has the logos on everything.
Yeah, it has. I think it has just the right amount of like lack of information versus enough information.
Yeah,
like. There is a line that you balance between like for reports and like classified stuff. So, because like sometimes some SCPs are just like SCP classified is redacted and was found in redacted classified information expunged, like kind of stuff like that. Like sometimes they go a little crazy with that, and those are the wrong ways to do SCPs, I think, unless you're doing a parody of one. Most of them, like I think the really good ones balance that like lack of information versus information. And this one does that fairly well as well. Like it knew when to stop, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was our recommendations. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're on Twitter in varying degrees. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow without that W because his name is long. And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDNTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas or SCPs or spooky internet stories that you'd like us to discuss on the show. Please send them through. We will throw them on the queue.
Hey, that rhymes.
I did it.
Write it down.
Yeah. And for if you'd like to help support the show financially, you can go to Patreon, look up Dente Rigamortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. Every little bit helps. And for our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely, because you're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we always appreciate that. And to the listeners of the show and the authors of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because seriously, without your listenership, it'd be really hard to keep going. And without your stories, we really wouldn't have much of a show at all. So, thanks. Also, if you'd like to go to Redbubble and check out one of our logos on a clock or a shower curtain or a t-shirt like a normie.
Normal person. Or sweet. Is there patches in there too?
There's also stickers and, no, not patches yet. I gotta those ones I actually have to like, go to an actual like embroidery patch person and get those ones done. Although I might do that for Gen Con this year and just give those out to people, because I think that would be a much more interesting than like just a card. Like business cards are good, but that shows like commitment or something like that. So we'll see. Also, we have a new podcast. It's an actual play podcast. So we talk a lot on our show about gaming and like game fodder from these stories. So we started up a podcast that takes basically 7 years worth of audio that we've recorded of our games, and we're like feeding it out weekly. So it's called One Less Die, and it's a Shadowrun and gaming actual play podcast, which means that we primarily focus on our current Shadowrun campaign, but every other week we have basically a campaign from the past that we've kept in our hard drives.
A little bit of ketchup.
Yeah.
Delicious Heinz
about
ketchup.
3 years worth of ketchup, basically.
That's a lot of ketchup.
Yeah.
Sweet Heinz sponsorship.
So if you like actual play games, if you like Shadowrun, or if you like horror, because that's generally how I run games, is like weird horror stuff. You can go check out One Less Die. And that would be really awesome of you. So, that is this week's episode. I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been
The
Al
third.
Dente And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.